Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG, and today for all things French football, because today it's international break, so let's talk about national teams and let's talk about France. France took a draw last night in Iceland against Iceland, 2-2. And in a way, it's really like a great summary of all of the things that are wrong with France. And it's actually funny for me because obviously, like, I get access to all of the international media, and I think a lot of football fans around the world and a lot of journalists talk about France as this dominant superpower of world football, which obviously we are. But at the same time, talk about it like at a level that's on par with Spain and Portugal and Argentina and like the big favorites going into the US World Cup. And I think, when you actually look at the games and you look at what the team produces, there's a reality which is very different from that. And I think at this point, like there's also like a lot of things to talk about. In terms of what France doesn't really do well, candidly. And, when you go into Iceland and, you get the first goal scored against you, you manage to climb back, pull ahead, lead 2-1, and then straight away you concede like a ridiculous goal. There's a lot of things which don't add up to the vision that I have of a country who's going into a World Cup as a favorite, confident in its football, with something to offer that can create trouble for a lot of teams out there. And so I think it's worth talking about. I think the first thing is really about our line of offense. And yesterday we played a very experimental lineup. We have a lot of players who are injured, obviously a lot of them in PSG. If you think of Dembélé, if you think of Doué, even Barcola missing this international window. Mbappé injured himself in the last game with France against Azerbaijan, so he was out for this game. We are missing Cherki from Man City. Like, there's really like a lot of options which aren't available, and so we're playing a lineup with Mateta up front and with a line of three behind him with Nkunku, Olise, and Thauvin. Who are like all good players in their own right and with stuff to bring. But ultimately, we didn't have any of our offensive superstars who typically help carry this sort of game. And I think the reality is that when you're playing usual substitutes or players who aren't so used to it, and you see it with PSG, what you need to rely on is structure and organization and principles that players know whether they play or not, that they can integrate pretty quickly. And like we see it with PSG. PSG is a perfect example. We go into a game with Barcelona with youngsters coming out of the academy who haven't really played with the squad, players being moved left and right depending on injuries into different positions. But they've got clear principles of how we play that they know and understand, that they've integrated, and that allow us to develop football and put forward football whatever happens. And France doesn't have that. France, ultimately, it's a very classic organization, scholarly shape of a 4-2-3-1. We've played like this for a few years now. There's no real creativity in the tactics. It's very straightforward. And so then, like, you go into Iceland, they can put 3 lines of 5-3-2 in front of us. A lot of people blocking, and nothing really happens. And so we get to a place where, for this French team, either we've got Mbappé on the pitch ready to score a goal or two and help us go through, or otherwise it instantly becomes a lot more difficult. And I think if I look at the game yesterday, Mateta, like, God bless him, like, he didn't really have any opportunities to play because the ball wouldn't go to him. Obviously, he's got his part of responsibility as well because he's a big dude. He's like meaty, he's a number 9. He's like, look like Lukaku on the pitch, honestly. So he's not going to move around. He's not going to go down to get the ball. He's not going to combine. He's not going to like move to a side. And, like, he does what he does, but the ball didn't go to him, and so we didn't really see much of him in the first half. He scores a goal in the second half, and that kind of saves this game. But honestly, in terms of contributions, that was very, very minimal. Then on the left, let's start there. You've got Nkunku, who has a great start of the game, who's got a good end in the second half, scores a goal, has a few opportunities here and there, but also like largely disappears in the middle of the first half. And yeah, he's very talented and he's skillful. I love Nkunku. He's a PSG boy as well. He's an academy player for us. And I do think that he's at the level to be able to contribute within this France team. But yeah, yesterday he's just like not showing enough creativity, or at least not showing creativity consistently throughout the game in a way that can impact the game. Next to him, you've got Olise as a number 10, who was, to me, like the bright spot in our line of attack, like the guy who was really trying to create stuff and move around and dribble and create problem for the Iceland defense. But it was 1 out of 4, and so they saw him. They had a guy on his back, like every time he came close to the ball, they would like bite at his ankle and like tackle him every time he'd come close. And so like in the end, he can only do so much. And then on the right, you've got Thauvin, who, like, honestly, like, I do not understand how people can have voted for him to win Player of the Month in Ligue 1 over Vitinha. Like, I still cannot get over this. Because, yeah, he's on the right. He only plays with his left foot, so you know exactly that he's going to cut inside because that's the only thing that he can do. And in any case, like, he takes 0 chances. There's not like one time where he tries to dribble, one time where he tries to create something, there's really nothing there. Just like get the ball, moved it onto his left foot, or like the defender like close the angle because they know exactly what he's gonna do. Okay, pass the ball backward. Cool. Well, against Iceland, that's a little bit disappointing, if you cannot produce more than that. So for our line of offense, really, really like question marks, and we don't have midfielders who can contribute behind or cannot like do a lot. And like the fullbacks, I thought Lukadin did well in putting in a few good crosses. Jules Koundé, honestly, like I thought was very average in terms of his contribution. It does make some run, but not necessarily in the good timing, not necessarily very sharp. So in the end, it didn't really bring that much. So we don't create much, and in the end, the issues that we're having in this game as well is that even not creating much, we managed to score 2 goals because it's only, like, due respect, it's only Iceland opposite us. So, like, players of this caliber, like Nkunku, at some point takes the ball, dribble a guy, and shoots it in the opposite corner, and that's a goal. Akliouche goes on to play, has a nice opening from Dean behind the lines, crosses, Mateta, goal. Like, yeah, it's not like super advanced, it's just like well executed basics, and those guys can do at their level. But then we concede 2 goals against Iceland. And I'm sorry, but I look at our line of defense and our central defense in particular. But the line of defense is Lukadin on the left. We've got Upamecano, Saliba, and then Koundé. And Maignan in goal. And I'm sorry, but this is on paper a strong line of defense. Or 3 central defenders who are rotating at the moment. We're talking about Upamecano of Bayern Munich, Saliba of Arsenal, and Konate of Liverpool, who are both like, for me, I would say, and I think lots of people would agree, probably like in the worldwide top 10 of central defenders right now. And yet, on the first goal, free kick for Iceland on the side of our area. The ball navigates within the box. We don't really clear. We are like protesting because we say there's a foul on Manu Kone and not really taking care of the action. And yeah, like Iceland player gets stuck in and puts it past Maignan. And honestly, like it's ridiculous at this level. Like we should be a lot more aggressive, a lot more proactive, and a lot more focused on getting the ball out. I honestly don't understand. Like the foul that gets the free kick is like completely unnecessary from Saliba, who at this level shouldn't even like put himself in a position to have a foul against him in this place. And yeah, like it's not the level that those players should be at. And the second goal is even worse. We've got like a counter-attack for Iceland, a counter-attack opportunity, and you've got like Upamecano moving backward. Different. Moving backward to cover for the Icelander run that's coming at him, and then on the other side you've got Koundé, who's like moving forward, thinking he's still playing for Barcelona, trying to create an offside trap, except it doesn't work, and so we've left with like an Iceland attacker who's completely on his own in the middle, who can get the ball passed to him because Upamecano is not really like stepping into his the man that is marking. And so that guy can pass it. The other guy is alone in the middle, goes to Maignan, scores and shoots and scores. Honestly, like how like Koundé, like, yeah, you're not in Barcelona. Like offside trap, it's a worthwhile tactic, but this isn't what we do. And like you're playing against Iceland. Do you really need to get cute when it's a 2v2? Like just cover your man, and it's Ireland. They're not gonna go past you. Just cover your man. It's really not that hard. Like we don't need to be smart and like put them offside so that like we're gonna get the ball back like this. And you're not used to playing with Upamecano day in day out anyway. So you don't have those reflexes. You don't have that coordination. Just don't do it. So yeah, that one is really, really troubling and not what you'd expect from a top team, honestly. And I think, like, for me, like, the closing element of this is that we've had Deschamps as our national team coach for a long, long, long time now. I think we're, like, past probably, like, past 10, 12 years of Deschamps, so, like, really, really long. Fantastic coach. He's brought us a World Cup in 2018. He's brought us to the final of the World Cup of 2022. But tactically, and in terms of what he does with his team, it's always been very, very underwhelming in terms of the games that we play. And yeah, once again, as a PSG fan, you compare with Luis Enrique and what we do in PSG, and it is night and day. Simply put, it's night and day. Like PSG, even the games that we lose and the games that like we don't dominate as much, like there are principles, and we're trying to do things, and we're not like we're not just like trying to win the game however it takes, but like without developing anything. We're trying to play football and show how to do that. France, it's really like our specialty of just like being like defensively minded, very well structured, but then relying on whatever happens up front to get us a win. And yes, sure, then you get headlines like Mbappé will score a hat trick in a World Cup, but like to get there, like you win by 1 goal against Morocco, you win by 1 goal against England. In the Euro, like we get to the semi-final. Like last Euro, we got to the semi-final where we lost to Spain, who would go on to win. We get to the semi-final without scoring a goal on a normal on normal play. We only score like own goals and penalties. It's like how, like, yes, you still get to the semi-final. It's admittedly a good result, but you don't produce anything. And just it's not, if you want to go to the cross the finish line, yes, you can do it this way. You will get lucky once in a while. Where you've got the good run of opponents, the coin flips will fall your way, and you end up winning. But for all of this, like, how many times will we like lose against Argentina because like they dominate us and in the end they deserve their win? Or we will lose against Spain because they actually have a team that playing together and doing something. And how many times, for fans and for people who follow football, how many times do we need to suffer through watching 90 minutes of the French team not being able to beat Iceland in Iceland? Because that's the thing as well, is that this team is always at its best when the times come for the big international competition, which is absolutely what it should be. But at the same time, like, it's boring the rest of the time. And like, watching the French team, it's a chore. It's honestly, it's not fun. And in France, like people tell us and journalists tell us, and it's came back recently actually, like with all of the chatter around injuries of Dembélé and Mbappé and so on, a lot of people in France say like the national team and national competitions, it's the pinnacle of football. And, you know, every kid wants to win a World Cup first and foremost, which is like a fair point to make. And so the players, for them, their priority should be the French team, and they should play with the French team first and foremost, even if their physical like condition is not the best. They should try to push themselves in this area. And I'm sorry, but no, like now, like this team is like not enjoyable to watch. They're gonna play boring football anyway, all the way to get into the World Cup, which they're gonna get into anyway, because like at the end of the day, like it's not like Iceland or Azerbaijan is gonna really like challenge us for qualification. So we're gonna qualify, like we'll put in a good showing in the World Cup, but it's making people dream less and less. And I think like that's really like the failure of Deschamps. And hopefully when we're like whoever takes suit after him will do better. But it's that more than win and losses, more than trophies or not. First and foremost, like we want to dream when we watch football, and currently with this French team we don't, and that's just sad, honestly. So anyway, this is what I had for you guys on this France-Iceland game. Sleepy France. We're still top of our group. We're still in great position to qualify, so there's no drama. Don't worry. We'll be at the World Cup. We'll still do better than England because that's, you know, a point of principle anyway. But for now, please drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment and let me know how much international do you watch? Like, who do you think are the top teams going into the World Cup? And you know, if you haven't yet, like, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified, and all of those things. And don't forget, like, France, definitely, ici c'est Paris.